ignore the image here. It's actually 4-4 final matchup. Czech Republic versus United States. Our final matchup here is a Lanni match. Wouldn't say it's a mirror.
It's not a mirror, but they're both built in similar fashion in terms of their Shadows decks.
Mm-hmm. So we got Lanni Kraken for Team USA running First Snow, Valor D, Valor M, Flea Bottom is the restricted versus Lanni HRD.
Same plot lineup, 1-for-1.
Wow.
Also on Flea Bottom as well.
But only two of. Yeah.
Yeah, they're on 2.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Alright, jump into the game here. Alright. You guys say some intelligent stuff because I'm putting up a post to bring people in.
So Colts on the Lanni Kraken versus Lanni HRD, Battles of Catchley Rock. Both are focused on shadows. Like I mentioned, the plots are 1-for-1 identical. There's a few like specific differences outside of the HRD deck, obviously being mono Lanni. They're running like 5-cost Tyrion over the Shadow Tyrion that Colt's running. And both are on Flea Bottom. And both have their own little like takes. Obviously, with the Banner Kraken, it's going to be more of the location destruction. So while Bowels is safe with the HRD agenda, any other location, Colt's going to be aiming to see Nightflyer and just keep discarding it each location one by one, and just really shrink that backboard and keep it as limited as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the HRD has advantage in terms of it's much better in attrition at killing the board than Banner Kraken is. Banner Kraken's advantage is Nightflyer is silly good in decks with Shadows Tyrion and Clever Feint. But so yeah, the reason this mirror is somewhat of an uphill battle for HRD because its specialty is dealing with a board, and another Shadows deck doesn't have to have a board.
Speaking of having boards, this is
basically as good as Colt could start.
This is pretty wild to start going. So we had Trading the Pedosian to at the gates. So Colt just went Gates of the Moon to get as much gold running. He already got the 3 from his plot. So we have Balls of Castle Rock being played, duped on his end, and then Nightflyer to rip away the econ that was set up on the HRD side. And Colt's also running 2 copies of Blackwater Raiders, who can actually, when they come out of shadows, steal those locations right out of their discard pile. So whenever Colt eventually sees one, that gold road is going to end up on the other side of the table.
Wow. Are there other big targets for Nightflyer?
Well, the biggest thing, even though they're both on Flea Bottom, if Colt is able to like put their Flea Bottom into the discard pile and they use Blackwater Raiders to steal it, that's completely denying the Flea Bottom from their opponent's end, and then he has his copies he can just be tossing away through gold mines.
Generally, anything that is really good. I mean, it's a deck. It's really a deck, right? The help of the HRD fouls still needs lots of money to do so. Picking off
Is
Gations.
Alejandro breaking up for anybody else or just me?
Yeah, he sounds like a
Yeah.
robot.
Okay,
Underwater.
Although Eric was sounding a little robotic to me too, but not Calejandro bad. You want to just try dropping out and coming back in and see if that fixes it. So it might just be some weird Discord stuff.
Yeah, it happens every now and then. But yeah, in terms of Colts Marshall, like hitting that econ and getting his backboard set up, he has 3 cards in shadows. Like, pretty much this first turn, I don't expect him to really do much in the way of challenges. And trading with the Mitoshi just being launched this early, not sure what line they're looking to have taken here, because they fed like quite the advantage to Colt to just get going, and he still has his econ plots to be able to lean on.
All right, there's Cersei.
Yep. So she comes out of marshaling, so they'll have a chance to attack the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Colt's still going to have access to a couple gold between the gold road on his end. He has his cards in shadows, so it's Cersei's not safe at the moment. There's still the other 2 cards in shadows, but Colt could still put up a fight depending on what he's got.
I think we have to expect at least one more body to come out of shadows for HRD. Penny and Old Bill Bone could both come out, as could
A cat's ball without a trigger.
Cat's Ball with that trigger. Regent's Guard actually might be very likely here.
It's kind of hard not to be able to refer to them by their houses.
Yes.
So we actually just have Burnman coming right onto the table from hand. So this is gonna force out something.
Make me stop you.
Yeah. So we have tunnels popping out of shadows. That discards another Burned Men. Gives Cersei a bunch of strength. They bring tunnels out again, and then Regent's Guard. So they were just maximizing their Cersei triggers and then getting her out of harm's way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Take 2 cards away from Colt, and then it's not a bad turn.
Yeah. Though at least in terms of the hits, I mean, losing another Burned Men isn't too big, and the Alchemist Guildhall is nice, but there's only so many targets that's going to affect.
The main target is the Hound. It can pin the Hound in place.
Yeah, Hound, they are on Quarterian, so stopping his gold gain. But overall, like, losing that Guildhall isn't the worst thing.
Mm-hmm.
And another important thing is, since Colt's on Lanni Kraken, he of course has Nighttime Marauders. There's already a card in the discard pile. They're already over reserve, so they have to discard, and they're tossing Mr. Pycelle, who's going to be a flea bottom target. But all it will take is 1 Nighttime Marauders, and that hand size can shrink a lot.
All right, looks like we have Alejandro back. Do you want to test your mic and see if you're any better now?
Yeah, I was testing it with test thing that it has, and I'll drop it out.
Whatever the issue is, it's still going on, unfortunately, my
Oh,
friend.
it's still going.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Maybe restart?
All right, so going into plots here, we have Lanni HRT just going into At the Gates. Against Colt, just flip a March to the Wall. I mean, trading out the Regent's Guard for Burnmen is completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Colt at this point, clever feint, or Shadow's Tyrion at this point would be the pieces he'd really like to see, because then he can really start terrorizing with Night Flyer on this
Oh.
board. And here we go.
Oof. Well, Varys isn't a great hit, but
Not a great hit, but he also did learn a lot about that hand and what's in there.
mhm. And if he has a driven to a clever feint, then
Yeah, I can clear out the Billbone. Would be the other one that he can reach at that point.
They're pretty well distributed between their costs. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The main thing, he's learning here, barring any draw from bowels, is he knows exactly what threats he's looking at now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, having that Gates of the Moon in hand isn't great for the Lanni HRD perks. That means that they'll either have to actually play it out,
Mm-hmm.
or it's just going to end up in the discard pile, and that's a 2 gold that they're going to be missing out on, even though it would give Colt an additional $1. Like, that's having that pinned in hand does not feel great.
Wait, did I miss something? Why is that pinned in hand?
Well, so much as in, like, they have to wait entire turn to be able to actually play it out. Like, on the Gates of the Moon, they weren't able to actually, like, get it out of the deck as they want. So in this case, where it's going to be an econ on econ advantage, like Colt already having his Gates of the Moon plus his Gold Road and Gold Mine, like, he's already working a gold up.
Oh, yes.
So the tempo loss of
see what
having
you
to
mean
then
now.
play it out,
Yeah.
like, you're losing out.
Yeah,
on
you
it,
lose
and
the
then you're-
gold.
Yeah, just
And
on a
then
simple
having
level,
to,
when you have at the gates, you
play.
don't want to see Gates of the Moon in your hand. It's just-
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we know that Old Bill is the only thing that he could get out of Shadows this turn, right?
Yeah, so currently stands.
And he has the Pycelle that he could get with Flea Bottom to draw a card potentially.
Yeah, there is Iron
He
Bank in
has
hand.
Iron Bank, so he can flea bottom in Pycelle, Iron Bank him, and I was gonna before he played that card, I was gonna say then he would have Robert Strong money, but now he won't.
Yeah, and
No, you can put in like you can also put in Old Bill Bone and get 2 more gold.
so power just going through. There's nothing to claim, but he'll get the unopposed, and
So
then
we
that
have our
pillage.
first power of the game.
Yeah, and that pillage hitting that gold mine is really good there. We have Penny coming out of Shadows. I'm wondering if.
But not enough cards in Shadows.
Correct. They're currently tied 3-3, so she is not with an intrigue icon in stealth.
Mhm. I wonder if that was a little bit of a mistake with Penny, because I've definitely had times where I just assume that she's always got that intrigue icon and sometimes forget that it's not always on, especially in the mirrors.
In this matchup, yeah.
I'm not totally sure why Colt decided to use the Marauders there on offense. Like, I feel like, was the pillage that worth it?
This
That feels
meant in
good.
more.
Yes, that is
I
really
have to
well
imagine.
timed.
I have to imagine this is going to be a kill, because discarding 2 is exactly what Colt is completely fine with.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
especially because we
especially
know what they
knowing-
are, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Because what it's
And 'cause-
Tyrion and
Iron Bank.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, both high value cards. And even like taking the discard, like at that point, Mandamore just blocks it, and you don't really get any value out of that challenge.
And I think that HRD was planning to use
The Iron Bank.
Iron Bank for
there,
Pycelle.
and he completely stops that.
Yeah, so the entire challenge phase just
denies
hit
him
a
3
wall.
gold that he also wanted to use this turn.
And there's the clever feint to get his character safely back into shadow.
Yeah. Because otherwise, that's such an easy just flip Valor and take out the board. And this also means Night Flyer is going safely back into shadows to have
the
fun
gates
on
of the
this
moon.
board.
You think Flea Bottom's the target?
I imagine Flea Bottom.
Right now, there's no Flea Bottom targets, so Colt might wait.
I think he might do it just because he has Flea Bottom targets.
It's Colt's first player,
Assuming
I think, that he will hit the gates of the moon.
Yeah.
And just choke it out completely.
Yeah, there's definitely I think a lot depends on Colt's hand as well.
Yeah.
Like if he has the Blackwater Raiders, then stealing Flea Bottom feels really good.
Yeah, the Raiders change quite a bit in terms of how this next turn will go.
I mean, the Raiders also just stealing that gold mine feel okay, right?
Yeah, Raiders just have a lot of wonderful targets here.
Yeah. Even Tunnels is like a target you can look at because of how repeatable it is for cheap triggers of Bowels to be able to really fuel the engine of like getting some draw going when you have leftover money.
With him making Colt,
when's he gonna have leftover money though?
I still think Colt goes after that gate to the moon.
It's always fun to.
You got initiative too, so.
Yeah.
He gets to gain the gold from the gates of the moon and use it to blow up the gates of the moon, poetically.
He might hit the gold road though, just because it's still 2 gold for his opponent and no gold for him, depending on where his econ comes out.
Right, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Your audio is better, by the way, Alejandro. So.
Yeah, you know, I use this mic setup, and I think maybe one of the cables are going out on it. Like when I fiddle with the cable, it is very clearly like crackling. So I think that's probably what it is. I'll have to just replace that. So I'm on my phone now.
Alright, so because of trading with Mintoshi, we actually have Old Billbone coming out as shadows in the draw phase.
Makes sense. Get an extra Bowels trigger.
And the faction Neil is you need that for
Clever Feint and Iron Bank will have it too.
Yeah, there's 6 cards,
Yeah. Yeah, it picks off the gold road.
Yeah, gold road definitely makes more sense than Gates of the Moon.
Colt just loading up the shadows.
Yeah, Colt knows that his hand is very vulnerable, but that shadows is 100% safe, so he can sort of deny one of the strengths of the HRD deck by not leaving cards in his hand.
It's actually almost a problem with the game, right? That your cards in shadows are so safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. The design space for countering shadows is there needs to be more ways to attack shadows, basically.
Ooh, double Iron Bank in hand.
The other thing about this game is that neither deck has a single source of power gain or power acceleration other than unopposed challenges.
Well, the HRD does have Starry Sept in there as a 1x That's the
Oh
closest thing
yes,
to
I
like an
forgot
outside
about
source.
that.
But Starry Sept is not the location you really want to see when you're staring down Nightflyer on the other side.
So we know that Card in Shadows is Robert Strong, right?
Yes, we do.
But it's also the case that the HRD player, like if Robert Strong came out, there's nothing. Is there any way to get these characters back into Shadows? I mean, Clever Feint's not an option, so
Just the Iron Bank to bring them back to hand.
the
so
Iron
get
Bank
them.
can do one.
No. Well, it couldn't this turn because of action cards now.
No, we're talking about the HRD deck.
Oh, right. Okay.
The
Yeah.
other thing to think about is he did just draw a card, so we don't know what that card is.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. But that makes sense because you can Iron Bank Cersei or Tyrion at any point and have Robert Strong money.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing though is Colt also has Robert Strong money.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That actually came into play in one of the test games that I was playing. The first test game I played against Colt with this matchup, I was calculating being able to make challenges with Tyrion and realizing that core Tyrion can get hit by Robert Strong where Shadows Tyrion cannot.
Mm-hmm. So we're just having Colt forcing it out where either Billbone will just like block and die, or trying to force the Robert Strong out.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Colt would be perfectly happy to have an Iron Bank used.
Ooh, baby.
Oh, the meme card.
Makoro
60th card in this deck.
from the top rope kicking Billbone and back into the deck. Yeah, now they have to Iron Bank and they have to Robert Strong.
It is slightly annoying giving him Old Billbone back.
Yes.
But now you can presumably Valor the Tyrion Robert Strong on the board.
Indeed you can.
Yeah, unless you essentially wasted Iron Bank and like after the standing phase, which is it's not great.
Yeah, so he got no triggers off of Cersei there.
Yeah, that's also a really major thing.
I
Because
mean,
even though with so many cards in Shadows, like those
feels
two
really
cards are
feels really
likely
good that Colt has 8 cards in Shadows or 6 cards in Shadows compared to the other deck having 0.
Yeah, I mean they both have the same wonderful Bowels draw engine going, and Bowels can just keep up with the hand attack that HRD has been doing.
Yeah. The one thing though Colt has to his advantage right now is he has Gold Mine, which is letting him to get just a little bit more filter going. So he's going to be able to get to his pieces a bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
And losing the Hound to discard is completely fine once Colt has Flea Bottom up and running.
Mm-hmm. And Colt's seen 24 cards now. Colt's seen 5 more cards than HRD.
So
Yeah,
this
six,
turn,
4
So
more, right? Because Old Bill Bone is on the top.
3 to 3. Yeah.
I think this is about honestly, this is more power on cards than I would have expected.
Yep, and this is where we're seeing tunnels where they have that extra 3 gold left over, so they're just getting additional triggers in to get another draw.
Little tricks. I mean, does Colt consider Valor M here?
I think he's very seriously considering Valor M here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that
The one counter, though, is that HRD could march.
it's fair.
you still put one of their 3X's in the dead
Yeah.
pile.
Oh, absolutely. Because they essentially just threw their Valor D away this previous turn. So
I
they
mean,
don't
yeah,
even
Valor
have
D
that.
is not a
It's not a thing.
yeah,
Smash it.
not great as a reset. It's honestly better as a protection.
Mhm.
Oh, actually, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so we do have Valor D into March, which means HRD has to go first so they can make sure not to get wrecked by this plot ordering.
That's actually a really good call by Colt, knowing that Marched was coming to guard against Valar Morghulis.
Mm-hmm. You just played yourself.
Yep.
I mean, you don't get to put Tyrion into the dead pile here, but you also get 2 more gold and claim, and
And your
Get
and
to
your
go
Valor
second.
Harris is probably never going to be super high value in this match. So getting
Mhm.
any value out of it, oh, that's a little annoying.
Yeah, the Power Mantras cache is
yep, that's
definitely
definitely.
annoying.
That said, it does still to keep getting to kneel bowels over and over again is for cards is still draw.
Yeah, and while there's no quote unquote true attachment control, Shadow's Tyrion can clear that attachment away.
They still haven't fixed this on Iron Throne?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess what, why, or like what aspect of it.
So here's a question: should he have used it on Nightflyer?
No,
Because if you use it on Lightfire, then Lightfire loses
the
shadows.
Right.
Oh, right.
So it traps Nightflyer in play.
Only the clever feints though.
Yeah, Tyrion clears up
Tyrion.
either case.
Oh yeah, Tyrion works. Tyrion can work. He doesn't.
Oh, there
Speaking
it is.
of the man, the myth,
Speaking of
the
man.
legend.
Ha ha ha! Laugh at your.
He's like, I'm gonna have
attachment.
my. Yeah. And
that-
you know what's gonna happen right now? There's some marauders coming. I'm guessing. Maybe
Oh,
not.
to hit the other Iron Bank, probably.
No, to hit the cache. He hits 2 to hit the cache if he's got marauders.
Oh,
Because-
the cache is not terminal. I did not know that.
yeah.
Yeah, the cache not being terminal is quite a nice advantage for it.
Yeah, and as it stands right here, like Colt's going to challenges with 3 gold. HRD has 1 gold, and Colt also still has Gold Road to go up to 4. So right now, there's a bit more flexibility on Colt's end here of what he's able to do.
And the march has already been burned, so you don't worry about your dupe Tyrion getting marched.
Yep.
Like a Hagen's daughter here would be really good.
I thought we said we
That-
were going to nighttime marauders.
You can do both if you have them,
Oh.
because the Shadows cost would work out. Because Bowels is going to give you 2. Plus, he's also getting 1 off the Gold Road, so he's still got some flexibility.
I'm talking about nighttime marauders to hit the The 2-cost location.
Mm-hmm.
The 2-cost attachment, yeah.
Yeah, now Tyrion here, though, does get a couple more bucks.
Is it worth it here to bring Penny out to get Robert Strong money to kill Tyrion?
Could certainly be.
Not defending the challenge.
Yeah, I imagine Colt doesn't care too much about the cards in his hand at the moment. Yeah, Queen's Assassin is not really a great card here.
And core Tyrion doesn't threaten pinch either, so...
Mhm.
Yep.
The one thing I'm thinking about is he could Iron Bank Tyrion to drop in Queen's Assassin and force something on, force out something. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Well, speaking of,
Yeah, you called it.
yeah, so no Queen's Assassins in there, because those would also have been flushed from the Nighttime
Yep,
Marauders.
No Queen's Assassin.
Starry Sept is in hand, a Regent's card, another copy of Tunnels, which we've seen, and then the Iron Bank.
Mm-hmm.
An Iron Bank is responded by a Lion Gate triggering, right?
What was that, Alejandro?
If they Iron Bank, you just trigger Iron Gate and force them to trigger their Iron Gate if they want to
Right.
Queen's Assassin you.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So Man and More happening here. Got 2 discards, and we have a double block happening against the military from Billbone.
So talk me through the double block. What's the fear here?
Tunnels
He
is
knows
still
he's
in
got Iron
shadows,
Bank,
right?
and he knows he has
Robert Strong.
Robert Strong.
Do we
That's
know he
right.
has Robert Strong?
Yeah.
How do
He
we?
We
revealed
saw
him.
it in his hand.
We saw it in his hand right now, or
and we saw it go to Shadows.
Okay.
Yeah, several plots back. So yeah, what he's making sure is that he's not going to get Mandan's head cut off and then Nighttime Marauders claimed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and we'll go to challenge resolution. So we'll also have pillage happen here.
Oh yeah, I forgot that
Do
we've
you
had
even want
2.
pillage to happen?
Absolutely.
You do? Okay. Even with flea bottom around?
Actually,
Yeah, I was
quite
gonna say that's
significant.
what he's thinking about is that he's
Okay,
got
passed.
gold for Flea Bottom but no
Nope,
targets.
Colt did
So
not trigger pillage. Good call.
also Colt being Colt, I'm sure had a keyword set to optional right from the start.
So we have an underhanded methods coming out
Oh wait,
to bring Cersei.
when did could have sworn that Robert Strong was in Shadows and we knew he was in Shadows.
He got marched.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
forgot.
right.
How did I forget
He,
that?
I thought you were
Sorry,
talking
the
about a
challenge.
second copy, because.
Yeah, you were right, Trey. I didn't know. I was convinced of something that was not true.
Yeah, we find out that both cards in Colt's hands were Queen's Assassins, but Cersei coming out and then Tunnels to win the strength of the power of 6 to 5. I would not be surprised to see an Iron Bank here,
Yeah.
and then a couple triggers of Tunnels in Dominance and Standing phase to get a couple draw.
Yeah.
Because that board left as is, that's hello Valor.
It is. And there it goes. Also wins him dominance. Up to a whopping 5 power.
So plot. Meaning.
So the grind is happening.
Yep. So far the difference between plots is HRD used their Valor D. Excuse me, actually no, they flipped the exact same plots so far. So they have First Snow left, Valor M, and one from the Iron Bank. What we have left. Sandy Face, we have Penny coming out.
Yep, just doing some.
Yeah, Regent's Guard just to get Bandit more off the
draw.
table.
Also, it was a dominance phase trigger for Bowels to get.
Yeah, the big thing with getting Bandit more off the table is I think the Valor M is a little too enticing if you leave him there.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, yeah, I could. I mean, that's the thing is that there's going to be two. This game is going to go slow. We're going to hit 7 plots, so both Valor Roses are going to go through.
And we got the Pyromancer's cash back in hand, right? So we have that to worry about again.
No, it was discarded.
That was the
Okay.
hit
Marauders
on
hit.
Marauders.
Yeah, Marauders cleared it out and took care of that nonsense. At this point, Lay Waste would be the 1x copy in the HRD deck that could like remove Bowels from Colt's end of the table.
Mm-hmm. But Colt could always find his 3rd copy. But yeah.
But I mean, even the Lay Waste though, at that point, like you're letting Colt dig for any of his other remaining locations and then just immediately set up shop. So he could turn into Econ. He could go get Flea Bottom with it. Like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'll be annoying, but Colt can definitely work around losing that.
Is the HRD debating Valor here?
He could be. Like, he needs to get it out of the way at some point. Like, he might just decide that this is the least awkward time to Valar.
Yeah. Because of that, I don't think Colt's gonna flip Valor here. I think it's gonna be First Snow or it's gonna be Lone. And given the number of cards in hand, Lone seems the least likely choice. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a First Snow. Yep.
Someone put up a post in the main Facebook group having people say what cards they associate with people. Tom, I think I associate you most with Reigns of Castamere.
Absolutely.
Like specifically Lanni Reigns, but that's like a agenda combination.
I still have a soft spot for Reigns.
Yeah.
When champ cards could be fair and balanced.
Mm-hmm.
When agendas didn't just break the game turn 1.
What do you think? Is that the right one for you?
Oh, that's the absolute card I would associate with me. Alright, but so both flipping for Snow on this turn, so both still sitting on Valor M and Lone from the Iron Bank.
Only 8 actual spectators in game. That's lower than I thought it would be.
I blame Roy.
Like I want to hear about the cool restrictedness, man.
Actually, there's only 7 people watching Roy's stream, according to Twitch. So.
This is also like one step away from being a builder's mirror in terms of
Yeah,
being
right.
slow
Hold on,
and not
hold on, please.
super exciting.
This is far more interactive than a Builder's Mirror. Like Builder's Mirror is just like, do you get the wall first? Yeah. Okay. Good game.
I
Yeah,
mean,
this is
this
really
is
grindy,
kind
but
of
it's-
like who sees their big cards first kind of matchup. Like Holt saw Tyrion, or saw Tyrion, and he's seen Night Flyer, and he saw Bowels, and I feel like he's in the driver's seat here.
He's losing.
Like how there was all that thought, and they both came to the same conclusion.
Yeah, and the thing is that the first snow honestly impacts Colt the least here. Like just losing Penny from your board versus Old Billbone plus underhanded method, having to go back to hand.
I mean, underhand methods isn't really doing anything much that's useful on Old Bill Bone. I think you'd rather have it in his hand to bring out as a surprise again and as a trigger again.
This tunnels draw is not for nothing.
No, tunnels in the HRD deck is absolutely
Yeah, it's
can be
definitely getting
really good.
plenty of draw.
Do you think that interaction was kind of known in testing? Because it seems a little broken. I mean, it just feels
mean,
janky to a.
Basically, you can turn gold into cards with it if you have both. Like it's
Mhm.
nice, but honestly, if you're in a position where you have that much gold that you can afford to spend for no tempo, you're probably in a very good position as is.
Look, Lannisters need a draw so bad, let them have it.
Sorry, Tom. You're right. Poor Lannister.
So
It
yeah,
just feels like
Colt has
HRD is in a really good spot right now with cards in hand going into the next couple turns.
honestly based on the board positions, I could possibly see them Valor next turn.
Like their goal here is to time the Valor at the same time as Colt, right?
Colt's plan is to get Tyrion off the board before any Valor is flipped, and Tyrion can take care of that himself.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, Colt probably just does not Valor next turn, so that even if HRD Valors, Tyrion just loses his dupe. In fact, I think Colt probably waits to get Tyrion off the board until he sees the HRD Valar. Because that way his dupe gets to be used. Which would mean that Colt might end up pinning his own Valor, but that's not really a incredibly helpful card in this matchup, so.
I wonder if he's just gonna nuke that tunnels, right? Yep. Oh no, the other player used the. Or I was gonna say, I wonder if Colt was gonna nuke that tunnels just to say, "I'm done with your draw."
Yep, no, that's the tunnels is absolutely a target to consider.
Yeah, I think Colt and or everybody but Tom, was it you who said that tunnels might be the good target?
The tunnels in HRD, because I actually, as part of World Cup planning, like I was actually messing around with HRD, and tunnels was so good at just keeping the engine running.
Mm. Oh, but he also knew that he had another copy of Tunnels in hand at the time, didn't he?
right. It feels like the Tunnels interaction is probably why he's playing the 5-drop Tyrion, right?
Possibly, still for like a deck like this, I think Shadow Tyrion is just provides so much.
Shadow's Tyrion is one of my favorite cards. He's like really strong and can do so many different things, but he's not overpowered. He doesn't like break things. He doesn't really like break the economy of the game or anything because they limited it to once per phase.
He gives you
Once per
more,
round, yeah.
yeah, he gives you more play patterns and like that you can and really more play decisions, and I absolutely like that.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. It's a strong card, not broken. There's not a lot of cards that are like that.
1.0 Shadow's Tyrion was pretty busted.
Yeah, and also he has insight, and that's so nice to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we had Tyrion rescued out for the military challenge, and then we have Cersei out here to start doing her damage.
Sad to see the Raiders get knocked out.
Yeah, I have
would
to
have
imagine
been-
those were like just drawn.
Oh, yeah, because stealing tunnels would have been so sweet.
Raiders can only steal 2 cost, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, tunnels is not a viable one, but still, like, Colt would happily grab another gold mines or the gold roads, and
Yeah.
then use Tyrion to cycle back and grab another one, and then just be set up.
Yeah, I always forget that the Raiders are not 3 or less, because I think they're the only example of something that targets locations that are 2 or less. Everything else is 3 or less.
That Manning seems a little ambitious unless he drew into an event to keep him safe.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
not be surprised if there's a Sorry, I'm just thinking about the play that just happened. He also just gave him a flea bottom target by
Yeah.
Mandening here. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a clever feint, but
But he needs to do it quick, right? Because the Cersei can snipe it out of hand pretty quickly.
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think maybe it's just that he doesn't particularly care that much about Mandan. He's willing to let Mandan die. He's not as big as a vital a piece as he is in the HRD deck, and he only has 2 copies.
Colt would love to see his flea bottom sometime soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Cersei's
Yes.
done some work, right?
Yeah, Cersei's been annoying, and presumably
Absolutely, yeah.
she's going to
Ugh.
get another trigger.
Yeah, that injury pull of the Tyrion, that feels good. Tunnel's doing tunnel things.
Yeah, I think Colt needs prioritizing knocking out that tunnel, because it's giving. Oh, fortunately, Cersei its only challenges phase. I thought he was about
Trust
to lose
me.
his last card.
If she was not limited to the challenge phase, people would be wanting that card banned.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Especially if
Like-
the limitation was exactly as printed and it was any phase you could do it.
Oh yeah, like you just would not be able to. Getting cards.
And then what you can, you do have the option of gold mining here if you want to do a little more filter, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, Colt HRD hasn't seen the Hound yet. That's a big miss for them.
Yeah, because they've been sitting on this flea bottom all game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
flea
what's
bottom-
left? You said Lone and Valor M, or
Yep. Yeah, they
and you don't want to pin Lone, do you? Or
Colt won't mind pinning it as much because his econ advantage is ahead. Typically you wouldn't want to pin it, but Colt also can't flip Valor here because a Valor flip is really bad for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Colt is perfectly happy to loan now Valor later.
Yeah.
Because he's
And they're both perfectly fine with loaning now, valoring later.
Yeah, right. They're neither want to pin it. But now
and I think
Tyrion's in
both of them are
danger,
just
right?
gonna
Yeah. So now
Tyrion,
the good
something has to happen. Yeah.
the good thing is Colt now knows that he needs to get Tyrion back into shadows. So at the very worst case, if he doesn't see Clever Feint, Iron Bank, Regent's Guard, or any other means to get Tyrion off the board, he'll use Tyrion's reaction to just shove him right back into shadows.
Mm-hmm. That's your safety net.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, he would really like to see either the third copy, which would be amazing here, actually. Because he would really like to get Nightflyer back into shadows to use on the tunnels. We are on plot 6. It is 6-5.
Yeah. Neither player has any like control over their discard pile, do they? Like you can't recycle
No.
Feint.
Yeah, they don't have any way to recur or get those back into deck.
I'm wondering if time and/or decking could become an issue. I guess both people can just sort of stop drawing their whole deck at some point, but
Yeah, that's definitely a thing we're looking at. And even like when you look at the dead piles, they're very small for what you'd expect.
yeah, for this matchup. So here's the other thing that you kind of underrate it in this matchup specifically, but Colt finally has a board. Like he can go and win all 3 challenges this turn unless the HRD player commits a lot of resources to the board, in which case he better have God, a lot in this round comes down to which players have clever feints. Because a clever feint lets you commit to the board this round where you've got tons of gold without doing anything. Ooh, that's a nice Mandan there. Takes 2 cards out of his hand. One of which he wanted to go into the discard anyway.
Hound. Yeah.
But I think this just means that he's got to blow up the flea bottom now.
Well, the thing
Did
is,
he already Tyrion this phase? Or this turn?
he is not Tyrion, but the thing is he has to save that Tyrion trigger to get Tyrion back to shadows.
He might.
Right, that's true. He doesn't have a clever thing, yeah.
Yeah, Starry Sept with the Hound is pretty nice little source of power gain.
Colt's still sitting on the
Ooh.
Robert Strong from a long time ago. Oh, that's nice.
Action.
That's the last thing you want to see.
Ooh.
The
That was
I'm
a
pinning. The I'm a pin this to the board.
So
Dead
he
Cersei
used
pick.
Tyrion. That was the trigger. So does that tell you something?
If he thinks he can either kill or remove Cersei from the board, if he has like the Feint or an Iron Bank or
Yeah.
a Regent's Guard like locked and loaded, ready to get Tyrion off the board, that's pretty much what that's telling me.
I'm thinking it might be the Regent's Guard because he used the gold mine to get a card, and he put that right in shadows, and then he triggered Tyrion.
How does
That's
HRD
good
cancel
observation.
Man and War coming in here? Or
HRD could bring a character on board right now out of shadows, so they don't have to kill Cersei.
mm-hmm.
And actually, both Regent's Guards are currently on Colt's side of the board, so he doesn't have any.
Oh, he doesn't run 3.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Huh.
would need a Feint for it to matter. So we have a Man and More response. Kill or discard. I think Hagen's daughter is going to be selected and just go right back into shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Okay.
So those cards almost have to be good, right?
Yeah,
But they
I bet
can't
one of
be.
them is a feint.
Oh, I guess he couldn't standing phase use a feint or an Iron Bank.
Here's a clever feint from Colt's
He has
side.
no banks left.
Hey-o.
This is all happening right now, huh?
Everything
This is the
going
one
back.
fun thing about a Shadows matchup is suddenly the marshalling phase gets super intense. I'm actually surprised he brought everything in there.
We have Nightfire coming out, and it's
There
going.
goes Flea Bottom.
I mean, tunnels.
Tunnels, okay.
Oh my! Looks like my game froze again.
And why did that all have to happen in marshalling?
Cersei
Uh,
triggers?
Yeah, Cersei triggers were being locked out. That was the biggest thing Colt was avoiding.
Mhm.
Yeah, like the HRD player could use their first action to play a card from Shadows and take out the
Oh, right.
clever
The
feint,
clever
which is
feint
something that
is
he
the
could
main
not
reason.
risk happening.
That's right.
Yeah, so
That is a big power swing for the.
yeah, that's why I was surprised he brought everything in there.
He just wasn't going to get another opportunity, though, right?
No, but it's just you didn't have to bring everything, right?
Okay. Could alternatively could have manded more and then guarded him away.
Yeah, that seems like a good play. Would have been a good play, but maybe he's got another line.
I mean, I definitely think you see Mandan here. You take out whatever 2 cards there are there. I don't know, maybe he really wants to keep Mandan alive.
Yeah, I mean there are the 2 guards locked away. Ooh,
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
wow.
I think he correctly read that HRD was playing like it had a feint.
Right.
yep, that's
Okay, so
a pin. And now Mandon Moore gets a kill.
Who needs mana more? Well, I guess
This is
you
this
just
is a
still have
hand
Flea
trigger,
Bottom,
huh?
though, right?
Yeah, whatever. If that card in Shadows can't come out right now to like trigger to draw a card, this Flea Bottom is just selecting who's gonna die.
I'm surprised he didn't use the Hound.
Why wouldn't you Hound? Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to hand, but maybe he wants.
I mean,
I don't know. There's probably an angle I'm not thinking of.
oh look, more hounds.
And Colt gets the return power challenge. That's big.
I think Colt's turned the corner here.
I think he finally has. Like, he's finally picked off all the pieces he needed to pick off to really choke HRD out of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
especially
the
since
Valors go down, and now he can just. And his Cersei's gonna die. That's big. Like, one of the biggest threats on the HRD side is gone. And
Yeah.
on his side, he gets to bring out Tyrion and have Tyrion just do Tyrion things the whole time. And neither player has claim this turn.
Yeah, there was only 1 card in Shadows, 1 card in hand. This is.
yeah, this is exactly the point where Colt's card advantage is going to seal this game away. So because Colt's working with 10 gold here, that's a lot.
I feel like,
Because
You take out this flea bottom and that.
yeah, Flea Bottom gets
yeah, taking
straight
out the
removed.
bottom here is really important.
plays his own flea bottom as well.
Yeah, finally found that.
Wait,
Um,
weren't we expecting Night Flare, or is that gonna happen now? Or
I'm surprised because he's
I
letting
guess
Flea
actually,
Bottom
it
go
may-
off, but he must need the want that as his trigger. So I guess here's the other thing: if he decides to bring the Hound out, who's the
There it
kind of
is.
most important one, then he
Landed
also,
more.
because the thing is that now he also has Robert Stronggold.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing there is if they had flea bottom first, put the Hound in, Mandamore just comes out and the empty hand kills the Hound.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they had to go for that Lion Gate first, and they couldn't flea bottom. So I'm assuming that's why Colt, went to challenges as is, because it's a win-win whichever option they take.
Yeah. And Colt now has that Hound shenanigans going.
Yeah.
Like Colt can bring in the Hound, use him, discard him to get another card too.
You could technically bring in the Hound, make a challenge, put him back in hand, ambush him back in, make a challenge.
No, he doesn't have the gold to ambush him because he has to spend one for Flea Bottom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, just the gold short. Just gotta get the Val's trigger.
Yeah, trying to dig for answers.
Yeah, and having the two characters means March to the Wall doesn't get rid of Tyrion. Feels good.
I bet we see another character come down in the
Yeah.
dominance phase.
Yeah, I would definitely expect.
If not, he's done all 3 challenges. So yeah, there we go. He gets another Bowels trigger, and he doesn't have to march the Hagen's daughter.
And in either case, even March to the Wall is perfectly fine because you can use Tyrion or Clever Feint to then put either character right back in the shadows, safe and away. But yeah, this next turn feels like this should be the end of it.
Mm-hmm. And Colt has we've got 30 minutes left, so it's not going to go to time. That Colt has the power lead, and I don't think that's going to change. I guess the things to worry about from the HRD side is another Flea Bottom coming down to put the Hound into play a bunch. And the thing is that Starry Sept does blank somebody for a moment, which could be situationally important. Though Colt's definitely in the driver's seat here.
so just as an indication of how long we've been going today. Looks like my 8-hour mute on the Team USA chat has now ended.
That's all.
Oh, that's great.
What a time for that mute to end.
Yeah, Trey, it's been a roller coaster of a day here, up and down. So thanks for sticking it out and bringing
No,
these
it's been
games.
fun. It's easy when people show up in my Discord channel. So.
Luckily, it's my last day of vacation, so I was free all day.
And I think I sound a lot smarter when I can just ask questions that you answer rather than actually trying to explain what the hell I'm looking at. So
It's the strategy of every college professor. When in doubt, just ask the students questions. What do you think the answer is?
Why would they do that?
The Socratic method is the best way of not revealing your own ignorance.
I'm gonna take a screenshot. Scrub collects 19 is a good look.
Also, that starry step to just flank Tyrion here. That feels like a bit of a, yeah, this is kind of over. Here you go.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
But it does have the effect of. We were expecting Tyrion to put one of these characters back into Shadows, right? Before
It was
First
an,
Snow? Or
it was an option, but it wasn't like a necessity considering.
Oh,
oh, there's okay.
Okay, yeah,
There was
Not
there was a plan.
not
that there
not a
was the out.
concession. Not clearly
Not
not a
the
concession.
Boy, we look really dumb. Concession this.
Happened in the books.
That crossbow shot the wrong person. Alternative history. Varys sneaks into the dungeon and just shoots Tyrion because he's too much of a troublemaker. Tywin goes on to rule Westeros.
Oh, thank
Effectively.
God.
Yeah.
Bye, Varys.
Yeah. 12 gold feels like enough to make 3 challenges.
There's the Raiders.
What's it gonna be?
Actually, I don't get the Raiders here. I feel like you just want to put down an intrigue icon. Oh.
Really wants to win this power challenge.
Yeah. He must be mathing out exactly what the worst case scenario max strength he could have is. There is.
Mm-hmm.
Which almost certainly also includes having a Robert Strong come down.
Pillage. He's gonna deck him. He's gonna deck him.
14 to 15 cards remaining.
Yeah.
Man did more here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Colt's got it all figured out. He knows what he's doing.
What was the point of bringing the Hound out?
To try and
He's gonna
oppose.
To oppose the challenge.
Oh, just to stop the single power gain. Okay.
Yeah, like that would have been the difference between
Whew.
winning and losing this turn.
Okay, so
Yeah.
5-4.
The HRD player also recognized that this one's really an uphill battle for his deck. Like, I'm really impressed at how well he did given how quickly Colt saw his important pieces. But yeah, this matchup becomes quite mechanistic because the Lanni Kraken deck gets to attack the locations and actually disrupt the important parts of the opponent's plan, while the HRD deck really can't attack either the locations or the cards and shadows. All it can do is attack the board, and Colt can just not give it a board to attack. And I guess it can attack the hand, but Colt can hide cards and shadows, so
Let's all
attacking the hand
agree
is
to
weaker.
play better against Germany next round, or at least those of us who lost this time need to play better.
Who has the bye, effectively?
That would be me.
Okay.
So we are up 1-0 on Germany already.
Well, I guess
Good
you can just
job.
help everyone else test.
That's what I said. I will put more hours into testing this week for anybody who wants to test, since I don't have to worry about mine.
Okay, so the other side of the bracket is Poland, and is it France? Or was France Austria?
Austria.
Austria did win? Okay.
Yeah, I see the win in the Austrian column.
Yes, Austria won early. They won like 7-2, I think.
Good lord, Austria are freaking monsters, dude.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah,
face Austria
they
either.
gave
'Cause
us a real run for our money when we played them.
that's burned in my matchup.
It was round one, and we like barely got through, and I was like, those guys are gonna be really really strong.
I mean, everyone we played has made the cut, and
Yeah,
like Czech, like they pushed us in the first round, and they pushed us even harder this round. Like they
Yeah.
really did an impressive job.
Yeah. Well played by them.
Yeah, really impressive showing for them.
Any thoughts
Alright.
about the Germany matchup, or that you want to share?
it feels much better now that we only have to win 4 to advance.
Yeah, I mean,
We want to
that does
beat up
feel
by,
better.
by 9, but
Yeah, we really want to beat them without the bye. Like we want to
Yeah.
get
Right.
5 pure wins.
but we'll take it if we don't. Right?
Okay, so maybe remind the viewers at home, i.e., me, the disqualification on Germany was based
They
on.
submitted decks with 2 decks with the same agenda. So there was an Alliance Stag Wolf deck, and there was a Stag deck. So Greyjoy
Greyjoy
Stag,
Stag deck.
yeah, Martell Alliance. So Anil ruled that the deck that was infringing on the rules of the tournament got disqualified for the rest of the tournament, for the entirety of the cut, basically, which is the rest of the tournament. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to my matchup. It's against Lanni Reigns. It's going to be some good old-fashioned thrones.
Whoa,
Big guys on the board, like thrones as of like 3 years ago.
Good old 2016 Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should allow Tom the honors of running the Reigns deck in testing.
I mean, that borderline might be our secret weapon. We've got the premier Lanni Reigns of Castamere player in the world. No one has been so loyal to that deck,
I'll play
for
that
better
deck.
or worse.
I'll drive that deck into the ground. So help me.
No, I mean I know Alejandro and I've looked at some of the matchups, but we'll see. One thing about Germany, and I mean obviously about Czech, is you can't go with our philosophy of maybe they're just bad. They're good players. They're here for a reason at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I'm excited.
Spain had him,
Keeping
right?
good.
What happened? The final matchup was weird today, right? Or
No.
The Builders
Well-
player didn't see any negative attachments and didn't dig for any negative attachments with the Castle Black Mason that was on the board.
Well, they did see one Craven, but it got hit by the opening turn heads on spikes.
Oh, wow. Brutal.
Like Tyrell big guys versus builders is a really rough matchup for Tyrell, but if you had to go into that matchup, doing it with a deck that has 2 heads on spikes, political disaster, and the king plot is the way you want to go into that.
Yeah, I certainly miss King Plot in Stark whenever I have to face Builders. Because the majority of Night's Watch Econ is also like trigger based, whether it's the East Watch Carpenters or the Santa reducing stuff or the Underground Vaults or the Flea Bottom Alleys.
all right, gents, I'm gonna bring the stream to a close. You don't have to stop talking, but no one's gonna be listening.
Cool.
That's
All right.
good. We
See
needed
everybody
to go down
next
so we
week.
could touch it anyways.